Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with a friend of mine, Chris Ross from across the pond. I believe he's over in England. I'll let him clarify that in a second. I'm not going to let him talk until I do his bio, though. So, but Chris,
I'll never stop talking.
There you ruined it. Chris is a visionary, entrepreneur, investor, and media personality. He's a creator of several top-rated shows: Winject Radio, the Jesslee Radio Show, Anabolic Mind, Brian Health, The Win-Win Effect, all presented by his all-in-one education, broadcasting and media corporation, Winject Studios. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. Additionally, he operates as an executive producer for all original shows, and he's most known for being in the top 1% in sales and the man behind the rapid growth of several billion-dollar companies. So this dude's just, look, he's just well-rounded, man. And his head's well-rounded too, because if you see it and you're watching this,
C-section.
Just like me, he's bald. So what's up, Chris? Welcome to the show.
Man, I'm blessed and honored to be here with you, man. It's, it makes it difficult. I'm a host of obviously my show. And, even when you have friends, when I have friends come on mine, it's like, how do I introduce my friend? Because it'd be easy. It's easier to introduce someone you don't know.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I appreciate you allowing me to come on. Finally, I think we had this booked and rebooked and all kind of stuff. But if I can bless your audience with a little bit of my craziness, everything's a plus. So we're good, man. I appreciate you.
Well, good, man. And I appreciate you being here. And I don't want you to go any further with your talking, because I got to ask you the question we start the show every single time with.
Let's
Chris,
get
what are you made of?
What everyone's made of. Same thing. Energy. So who are you? Like, what are you trying to become? Right. So what difference, well, I guess you say what separates me or from you from anybody else in this world is unique and maybe potentially genetic proclivities. It could be your personality traits, but that's based upon your perception of your own reality. I mean, I don't walk in to discover some more things about myself. I'm discovering more who I am actually in my essence of myself. And what separates me is I know the difference between truth and illusion. So what is truth and what is an illusion? So you can't think and be at the same time, bro. It's impossible. So understanding those two separating factors goes into effort and attitude, and that's what you can control. So what me diving into a little bit more in detail, I made it my mission in life once, of course, obviously with my story, we'll get a little bit more into this. My older sister was born handicapped. So I would communicate with her, put it in a crib, and I would learn how to communicate non-verbally with emotional cues. So I made it my business in life and understanding that the unspoken word speaks the loudest. And when you understand that and you can read it and gauge it off individuals, you know exactly what they're looking for and what they're really looking for, not what they're telling you. So that's what I'm made of.
So I love it, man. Let's dig a little deep. Some of it that was really deep for some people. So let's talk about truth and illusion and the difference. You said you know the difference. So what's the difference?
Difference between truth and illusion. What is true and what is an illusion? I mean, when you're looking at truth, you have to start dissecting everything that you've potentially ever learned from individuals directly or indirectly in life, what was actually projected onto you. Maybe you see this happen a lot with being born in a certain area in life, or maybe a state. You got certain people growing up in a state never leave the damn state. Okay. Well, that's going to limit you to your experiences in life. One of the best decisions I ever made when I was, young, when I was 17 years old, was going into the military. That obviously broadened my horizon of exposure, and me being exposed to so many cultures. What made me powerful when I took myself from, working for $1 billion company and went myself and said, I'm going to do this myself online. I'm going to do it. I'm going to build my own corporations. Why am I doing it for everybody else? But that's what's true. So what is true, it usually comes from your intuition and understanding yourself. Right. The Greeks, I think is, what is it? Robert Peterson says this, right? Or Jordan Peterson, excuse me.
Yeah. Jordan.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson is actually top 5 I ever want to interview. I learned this from him. He said the Greeks have a saying called know thyself. That's the biggest crock of shit, because you don't know yourself until this moment. So that's what I mean by thinking and being. Being is just being, and being aware of your own existence. I mean, the human mind, and I'm going to go way down this deep rabbit hole, but you're asking the question.
Well, let's just roll. Let's just roll.
Yeah. The human mind.
Let's go.
Right. So the human mind aroused by human mind's aroused by the contradiction or seeking existence for meaning finds nothing but confusion, because you're going, what am I doing today? Like, I don't know what this means. Well, most people aren't alone in their own damn thoughts, bro. You know this. And it goes back to that 1%. I see a lot of these people talk about this crap. They go, oh, I got to be 1% better today. But do you know what that really means? What is 1% of every day? How many minutes? 14. So do you have 14 minutes for yourself? Only yourself. See, the muscle of you strengthening that muscle of concentration isn't you concentrating. It's you taking yourself when you lose focus and bringing yourself back to concentrating. That's where you strengthen the muscle. So that first time that I wake up in the morning, my frontal lobe awakens, bro, I'm investing that 14 minutes of my day just for me. I need to clear the mechanism. I need to figure out, this is the closest I'm going to get to my subconscious mind. And I'm going to enjoy the show. Like, why am I thinking this when I'm sleeping? And that's the closest you can become. And that's where most people, they pick up a phone and they're so distracted, or I don't know, whatever they do in a living. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but I know it works for me. And that's what I meant by the Greeks, know thyself, know thyself. I know what works for me, and what doesn't work for anybody else. It doesn't really matter to me. I just know what works for me. And me is I'm 100% dedicated to my focus. Like I actually have a couple assistants. Erin, shout out to Erin. She's been with me the longest. Her job is to guard my focus, because wherever my focus goes, something moves. Mm-hmm. So if I don't have people around me guarding that focus, that's where I can understand what is true and what is an illusion. Because an illusion could be smoke screen and mirrors, and we're all in this ball game. And then that illusion side of it is like what is projected and what is portrayed to be X, Y, Z. Well, I can see through all that smoke and mirrors if I understand energy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it, man. Perfect answer. I've accomplished, once I figured all that out, I've accomplished more in the last 3 years of my life than I did the 42 years prior.
Because you're dialed in, bro. You're dialed in on who you should be, right? Because that's what I mentioned, the genetic proclivities. We're all, I mean, all of us are different. We're all miracles, but you have to understand why you were born. There's a purpose for everything that happens. And I truly believe God put you in a position, and whatever people believe out there in the world, I'm not trying to knock whatever, but I believe in energy first. But I do believe there is a God. There's only one God, right? So if you actually believe that and understanding that sometimes God gives you everything you ever asked for just to torment you. Just to torment you. Because you need to either learn a lesson or grow through something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it doesn't give you something because you're not ready.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, I mean, if you're sitting there going, you're trying to get something from it, walk into situations with zero expectations.
Yeah.
You walk, I mean, I've gotten to how I became the top 1% of the 1% in sales because I never sold any damn thing. I didn't want anything from them. People were trying to hand me money. And I was like, I don't want your money because you don't qualify for the program. You don't qualify for what I'm actually trying to help people with. You don't fit this criteria because I have a moral compass. Mm-hmm. So when I'm asking questions, I'm not asking questions from my understanding. I'm asking questions for you to see it clearly from my vision that I'm trying to share with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. The one thing that you're going to do is you're going to convince yourself that I'm not, but prove me wrong, please. You know what I mean? So it's not that I'm open to the idea that I might be wrong.
So Chris, take us back, man. Like give us a little background of you, man. Where'd you come from?
Sure, man.
What kind of catalytic moments did you have as a youngster or as you're growing up?
Sure, man. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know this. Listeners don't know this, but I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, Chucktown. Shout out. Grew up, born and raised, Italian family. My sister mentioned earlier, older sister passed away when I was 16. She was born handicapped. Learned tons from her of overcoming adversity. She would have seizures in front of me and, you know, breathing through tubes her whole life. So when people tell me they can't do something, it literally lights me on fire. Like, can you walk? Can you talk? Can you breathe? Like, if you have all this stuff, then you can do anything you want to do. It's your problem. It's your own limitations. So people get stuck in that. And my younger sister, she's 4.5 years younger than me. Great family. Love her dearly. Left at 17 years old, left for the delayed entry program in the United States Navy. I drove boats my whole life. So I think you probably don't even know this. I drive a boat better than I drive a car, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm surgical with a boat. So
even the big fishing boats?
No, I can drive those too. I was actually a master helmsman. I used to drive through, like, you know, they do the underway replenishment stuff in the Navy. This is back in the day, bro. I had hair back then, but actually a shaved head. But bro, I looked back at some of those pictures. I'm like, who the hell was that kid? I was 19 years old driving you know what I mean? Like $1 billion freaking ships. Wow. It's crazy. It's insane, bro. But yeah, then I was in there for 5 years, went to college, had no idea what I want to do with my life. Sales worked for me because I know I'm extrovert, but I learned how to be introverted when it comes to understanding and being still, right? But was in sales, then the market took a crash, 2007, 8-ish, chemical sales, went to education, sales. I was like, I don't know anything about education, less passing a test or cheating on one, okay? But I do know how to convince people that they need to understand that they're built for something greater in life. Because I don't come from, Charleston, South Carolina is a beautiful place, but I was on the other side of the track. It's a beautiful place if you're looking from the other side, okay? So I understood, hardship, because it wasn't that my family wasn't, obviously smart, or they were just in a tough situation. Insurance back in those days, and you have a handicapped child. My dad worked 2 to 3 jobs, bro. I learned how to hard work. He has sacrificed his whole life for my existence and my sister's existence. If you look at that, just generational, right? Sacrifice. So I'm not going to pay that bill of that regret for my daughter. So I was sitting at dinner one time with my father, and he had these, his hands were peeling, and it was from chemicals. It wasn't glue. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the person I was with at the time, she goes, "Why didn't your hands look like that?" I said, "Well, my hands look like this because his look like that."
Yeah.
So think about that overall, right? Yeah. So then I went to education. Then I became one of the top recruiters in the nation. Then went to understanding how to train it. When I understood how to train it, I never read it. I've read one sales book, Daniel H. Pink. This is like probably 5 years ago. Just validated I wasn't crazy. But the only other book that I read at that time was Dr. Eric Berne, Games People Play. Mm-hmm. Boom. I learned that I wasn't crazy. I was like, how do I get on a phone and not have to answer or ask the questions that these people write scripts on? Because I'm 100% present with the individual. I'm going to ask them deep, penetrating questions. And there's one offensive question you can ask people that they don't want to answer is why.
100%.
People can't tell you why.
Yep.
And I'm going to keep applying pressure until they tell me why. Like, Mike, listen, I learned a lot about you today. I got to this point, and I'm a paraphrase, of course, just tell them all about themselves, but there's something I'm missing here because I don't see what you see and a reason why you're not willing to do this. Don't you see that this is a problem? I put it all on them. Yeah. And this is what 98% of salespeople aren't training on. And that's what separated me from everybody else. That's why I started my first company. The reason why it's called Chris Ross Companies, because it started with moi, turned into a corporation. Now it's obviously trading with, 190 something programs in the United States in trade schools. And that's kind of keeping it short. Then when I launched my podcast, like yourself, launched my podcast, and I fell in love with media, bro. I was like, whoa, this is shit. I was like, I like this stuff. Millions of downloads later, I was like, well, how do I turn this into a business? So I'm just doing right now is what I've done my whole career. I'm taking education and applying it to content creators.
Now let's talk about the
education.
Let's talk about the downloads for a second, because this is like the big hidden secret a lot of times that people don't realize. And there's a game that's played, whether it's social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's downloads on podcasts and all this, and then the perception that follows that. And then you have to be able to you have to be able to show up when you get that perception. For example, Instagram, people do promotions to get followers. The check mark is a process that you go through to get the blue check. But then what you do with it afterwards is what matters. What are your thoughts on how that game is played? Because, by the way, some people will refuse to play that game. They'll downplay and discount everyone else that does it.
That's easy. They're making excuses.
Yeah, and then they can't play the game, and then they don't win either. They don't. So you got to be willing to play the game. But what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, you got to be willing to get in the arena before you play the game. And getting into the arena is not conforming to things that you don't want to do, is going on how the world's evolving. The world is evolving, and we're in a digital world with a Stone Age brain. When was the last time you were chased by a freaking tiger or something? You know what I mean? So, unless you go to a zoo.
Yep.
I mean, we're floating around here just trying to find existence for meaning, like I mentioned before. But if you don't understand how the world works, then you are going to be left behind, and you're going to be pointing fingers on why you ain't shit. Excuse my language, but it's true. It's facts. Like, the reason why you ain't shit is the reason why you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now, because based upon your 10 years of your decisions and choices that you've made. You are a complete reflection of that. So if you're trying to point fingers and saying, I'm not going to do that and post content, there's a couple different ways you can do it. I had the blue check before I even knew what a blue check thing was. I was just grandma'd into it just because I was attached to so many people. And then I had up like 500 something thousand followers. Then I got hacked and I grew this account like in the last 8 months, went from 0 to 80. And I don't do any of that promotion. I give real content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to sell you. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can give you what you think. Right. So that's why you have the barriers and obviously people there to protect you. Right. I mean, because just one thing that I don't like to see is people doing what everyone else is doing. What's going to separate you? What's your competitive advantage?
Mm-hmm.
What separates you from this person? And when you can kind of understand what separates you from everybody else, then talk about that. And that one thing. And then you start growing. Then you can start expanding into something else. Then you go into this next type of post. Okay. And when you see a thing a lot of times with podcasting, people are recording content, long form content, but they launched a whole show of an hour, but they don't have shorter episodes that actually help them gain that type of level of entrance. Right. So my show, the first 2 seasons, I didn't even do audio. Didn't do it.
Yeah.
Granted, I did broker a deal with the trade school. So it was a prerequisite for them to listen to my show. It was my way of training them indirectly on how to do sales or emissions. And that's how you have to look at distribution channels. So people think distribution channels is only their Instagram or their social media. Nope. I have so many distribution channels. Look at this guy, Andrew Tate. He's controlling the internet right now. The reason why he's controlling the internet is he has it built into his program, them to promote him. And it's coming from every direction. That's distribution channels. With Winject Studios, we have over 400 PR agencies tied into us. So we're pushing out content, not coming from us, coming from other directions. And people are more open to consume that content because we're not trying to jam it down their throat.
Right.
See my point? So downloads is now going to streams because they're getting smart because there's a way that you can actually manipulate those download numbers.
Yep.
And getting sponsors and deals. So what they're looking at now, you have to understand education and media. Now they're going to streams. Now they're going to, what is it called? Impactful plays. Impactful plays is going into 75% of actually consumed content.
Yeah, because the only reason you download a podcast, for example, is if you want to listen to it offline later on.
100%. Right? If I'm going on an airline, I'll download it.
Yeah, but if I have Wi-Fi on the air, I'm going to stream it. That's the difference. What you're saying, just so
that's a complete difference. So if I stream your episode, that before that was overlooked.
Yep. And that's what matters because that's what most people are doing now.
Yeah, that's how you pull yourself into other individuals.
Yeah.
This is how you create ambassadorship with yourself. I don't have to post much. The more I accomplish, the less I post. Because I don't need to. But when I do post, people want to consume that and wonder what I'm doing. Because when I go into dark, things move.
Yeah,
so, and it's, it's facts, bro. I'm telling you, I get to the point to where I have to understand that people may not understand that this is a 17-year journey. And then what you're seeing right now is that journey.
Yeah.
It's just the end result. I haven't gotten started, bro. I haven't gotten started.
Well, speaking of that, then let's talk about what's going on in the future. Like, what's the vision for you? What do you see? Like, before we got on this call, I kind of told you like where I want to take.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm proud of you, man.
Right.
I mean, you're doing great, bro. Like, the whole evolution of your show and stepping into Blueprint. I mean, I think this is just there. Of course, for people listening to this, I'm not sure when it comes out. Stay tuned because there will be a potential alliance and a partnership within Blueprint, and obviously with Winject Studios. It just fits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I live in an abundant world lifestyle, right? What's available will be available when I get there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always going to be available. And that's hard for some people to really listen to. And they don't understand. I mean, where I'm going in my life and where I feel that, well, let me back up just a step. I feel that I'm a trailblazer. My job is to light fires. I'm a visionary. Okay. I envision things that people potentially don't see. And it doesn't make me smarter. It's just that I was exposed to a lot of great visionary entrepreneurs. And I would be almost an idiot not being able to do what I do in the levels that I'm able to do to accomplish things. Okay. So if you look at it that way, we're all shared legacies. So who are you exposed to? That's the key. That's the main question. Who are you exposed to? And if your lack of exposure is obviously an indication of you not being able to develop more personal skills and getting to know someone. I swear to God, bro, if I didn't know anything, I would go and find somebody next couple levels heavier, bigger than me. I'm like, I will work for free for 3 hours a day. I want to know what you know. Because I obviously don't know what you know, right?
Yep.
I don't see these results. What they rather do, bro, is pick up a damn beer or a joint and sit on a couch and watch Netflix and go fuck off somewhere. And they don't do anything with their life.
Yep. Or scroll TikTok.
Do you know what I mean? Who gives a crap? I don't care what people are watching me. I'm not watching them. You know, I mean, that's when you get to that point. Yeah. And you could probably tell I'm speaking a lot of passion, a lot of authority right now, because when I'm speaking and when I do events, and granted, obviously it's 2022 now, right? So we're now finally coming out of this freaking epidemic. But when you get to that point, we're like, okay, how do I pour into more people? When I start speaking with a lot more passion, a lot more authority, I'm talking to my old self. That's who I'm talking to.
Yeah. You know, I tell people that all the time, bro. I'm like, you guys are just getting to listen to a conversation between me and myself.
Yes, 100%, bro. Right? And that's what, and my language is sometimes can come across harsh.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's going on in here, man. So just, if I tell people, if you get tired of hearing me, then just feel bad for me, because I hear
turn me off.
All the time. No, but I hear the shit all the time, man. like I got to deal with myself all the time. So no, I love that. So tell us more about Winject Studios, man, exactly what it is, so that, you know, people know how they can get involved or, you know, take advantage of using it.
Right. And I appreciate the question, and thanks. It's Winject Studios. It's a broadcasting media corporation, but it's, as the understanding, is educational based. I come from the world of education. I own 2 trade schools that I sold and obviously broker deals. And that's how all this stuff happened. Right. So me understanding educational pieces and how to align programs or curriculum inside programs to get nationally accredited. National accreditation is where they can use FAFSAs, government funding, and obviously end up investing into whatever. Well, there's not a lot of programs. There's no trade schools right now. That's what, obviously in the United States, marketing, content creation. And that's my overall goal, is taking that, because I've already built the sales programs for them and they're killing it. Bro, I was in an education board. Over $30 million worth of FAFSAs were submitted for the 2 programs that I built. And I'm the youngest freaking creator on that board in like 20 years.
And what is a FAFSA? Just so everybody knows.
FAFSA is for government funding. So say, for instance, you want to use government funding for any type of, you're using student loans and whatnot, right? So that's what you're using.
Okay.
You're doing pay downs and whatnot. So, and a lot of people don't understand it. Like, especially just one thing that you can't ever, you know, they're going to take from you, even if you die, is your pay back your student loans. But most people would much rather go into a 4-year college just because it, you know, obviously sounds cool, but do you really want to stay 4 years? The world's evolved, bro. It's evolved. Like, you got 14 years old right now making millions of dollars a month on YouTube. So it's not that attractive to go to school, but do you know how to be a content creator? No. Okay. Well, this is how to do it.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this as we wind down here, because I know I want to respect your time here, and I know we're a little bit over.
No, we're good.
Good. Okay. So how does people, like, for people listening, right? You got people like all these YouTubers that are out there, the kids watch. You got the Paul brothers, right? Let's just talk about the Paul brothers, for example, right? How did the Paul brothers get their YouTube cranking like that? Is it just because of their content and they're interested in the wilding out? Or do they have some kind of technique or secrets behind the scenes? They know how to build their YouTube channel and then it caught fire that way? Like
both.
Like, okay, both. So what's more important?
What's more important is content. Is you're strengthening, I guess you would say you're fleshing out your message. When I get on calls, that's why I don't look at notes. That's why I don't need to look at anything. This is just me, right? So, but 10 years ago, I would be in my own head and going, oh, am I saying the right thing? And we're going to piss somebody off, stuff like that. That's why you need to put in those reps.
Yep.
So the content isn't just good for content. It's just getting the reps in. So now you don't have to think of it. You're deeply entrenching that in your mind, your subconscious mind. It's just go time.
Well, so you don't really want followers and views and all that shit when you're first starting out.
I mean, I would do short content.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's good not to have, like, some people get like, man, I don't have any followers. Nobody's liking this. Nobody's viewing this. You don't
And they
want
quit,
that when you
and they
first
quit.
start.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
So
but my point is you don't want it.
Right.
You don't want people to watch you when you're first starting out.
No.
You suck.
No, it sucks.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, then also too, you kind of do sometimes because you want them to go back and see your growth.
That's true. Yeah, well, they could do that later, but not in the beginning. Right?
No.
You're better off them not seeing it.
Right. I mean, to be honest with you, that's why I had a co-host. Shout out to West Bay, is loving to death. He runs a lot of call centers and stuff like that. He's been with me for a long time. He was my co-host for the first 2 seasons of the Win-Win Effect, just because I didn't want to get on a microphone and start talking. I needed somebody there. I'm a controversial. I mean, I would sit there and have a conversation with you, right? And I can go off a tangent. Mm-hmm. But if I had to think about the content and me going, I'm not teaching freaking class here, bro. Like, I need to have a conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So he was able to, fuel my fire, keep leaves on that fire, and I would just destroy it, right? So, but I was in my own essence and I was in my zone. But if I'm not in my zone, I can't help anybody. But going into the second part of that question, the strategy behind it does matter. If you don't understand keywords and how to attack different types of, distribution channels going into what is actually popping right now, then you're left behind. You're wondering why and then this is what happens. They go, I'm not getting any traction. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know what you are going to do eventually is quit.
Yeah.
But, because some people aren't humble enough to be able to go, all right, well, I need to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mike Malatesta. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs that I know. Minds.
Yeah, Mike.
This guy, I love him. And he's a great person. And he's sold more businesses than before I was even in high school. Okay. And he's got a podcast and he was in, this isn't a dig to him. He's had a podcast, almost 300 episodes, and is not getting the recognition he deserves. Mm-hmm. Now his show, we cleaned him up. He's now getting the recognition he deserves. So what we do is we solve the problem for you. And the problem is I'm going to put the spotlights on you, but I'm going to make sure that you're passing that visual test. You can't just go on social media and look like dog shit. And what I mean by dog shit is your formats are wrong. It's all like busted up. I mean, you look at your social media. It's all branded. It has the same coloring. It has the same format, but it's different content and it's what people want and it's consistent. Look at my page, same thing. You got to look at what's working. I mean, give your listeners something and doing Q&As. But you need to start small. Some people try to go and I'm going to build YouTube. Okay, great. Just start with YouTube. Don't start with 4, start with 1. Mm-hmm. And then you start getting that ambassador. That's what we do with Winject. So that's why Winject is 100% free for anyone to join. Anyone. They can join and they can engage with the hosts of shows. But when you come onto obviously you're a part of it. You haven't really had a chance to look all the way deep inside of it. But when you're looking inside of it, I have discussion groups. I have communities. I have my own marketplace in there where people can sell. That's where a lot of people are utilizing podcasting. I guess we use that one as an example, or live streaming as a way to generate revenue. Well, they're a podcaster and they're good at doing this, but they don't have a sales team. Well, I have 2 call centers, one in Arizona and one in New York, that can freaking sell for you. But if you're aligned to our process, and to become a Winject creator, that's an application process. We don't accept every show or accept every creator. We got Winject Music, Winject TV, we got publications, distribution. We got Winject Fitness coming out soon with Mark Jenkins, the Anabolic Mind. He's a trainer for Beyonce, Busta Rhymes, D'Angelo. I mean, we can keep going. Mary J. Blige. I mean, come on, really? Yep. Right? Yep. Star power is there. I haven't even started market, bro. I had to get a whole new server. I did 0 marketing and the website kept crashing because I'm getting 70,000 views on my website a day. So what does that tell you? I have people's attention, but they don't know what I'm doing yet. So what the intention is for is because people are waiting for the other shoe to drop. Why is it free? Because I don't want your money, right? But you're going to want my help. But in order for you to get my help, you're going to have to ask for help, and that's submitting an application. And for us and our show selection team, content creators team, to sit down and go, Mike, what are you trying to accomplish? And they'll go through the whole process, and they'll actually custom make the approach for you, for your show, branding. I got some major players involved with strategic partnerships because I knew if I was going to build Winject Studios, I couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah, of course. I'm
going to need partnerships. And that's why Blueprint is important. And that's the end result. I mean, this is game over. I was telling a couple friends of mine, I was yelling checkmate 9 months ago. You know what I mean? I was yelling, no one knew what I was talking about. I was yelling checkmate 9 months ago. A checkmate, because everyone thinks I'm trying to sell, like, or get people to sign up or sell them into, or building their own shows. I don't care about that. I'm trying to get the test results and the actual beta phase to take that to trade schools and sell it for like 4 or 5 billion. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's my
plan. Now trade schools have that kind of money?
Yes. Major corporations.
Yeah.
They fight over for programs like this.
Yeah.
Fight over.
Yeah. Well,
because
let's go.
They can take it. They can tell it. They can take that program, put the education and put in, and just like Blueprint, right? White label it with their stamps. And then they can submit FAFSAs and gain like 70K, 100K per enrollee.
Wow. Shit. Yeah. Well, look, guys, Chris is amazing. As you heard, if you want to engage with him further, Chris, what's the best way for them to engage with you?
I'm easy, man. You yell out the window, Chris Ross. I'll probably answer at some point, but I am in London. You could probably see behind me, if those who are watching us, as the O2 behind me.
Oh, cool.
Right there. But yeah, this microphone makes me sound American, but I am American. But easy way to find me is Lord Chris Ross everywhere. Instagram is probably the best channel. That's the only one I really look at with my team. Go to winject.com/Chris Ross. You'll find my page. I'm really easy to find.
Awesome. Go check out Chris Ross, Winject Studios. Any questions, DM Chris. Don't DM me because I don't know enough about it yet. But Chris, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you being here. And I look forward to working with you in the future and building something amazing, helping you push to the future that you want, brother.
Absolutely, man. It's going to always be. And shout out to Rich Dolan. I want to introduce this. Rich.
Yeah, Rich.
Love you, bro, man.
My coach, my mentor, my friend. What's up, Rich? Hey, you guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. Obviously, Chris Ross falls into the Unstoppable Club. Keep coming back. Go subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a rating. Let us know what you think. We love feedback. I don't care if it's negative, positive. It doesn't matter to me. I want to hear about it. I want to hear from you. And go subscribe on YouTube at Mike C-Roc, Ciorrocco. Until next time, be unstoppable.